bonding is the essence of strategy, how could I provide that to my customer? In other words, how could I attract, how could I satisfy, and how can we retain the customer? And we postulated that there are three macro options: best product, total customer solution, and system lock-in. Let's start with the one in the right-hand side, the best product. What does it mean? Incidentally, that is the saying that you fall into if you don't think. It's what the gravity puts you in. What is it? I'm going to attract, satisfy, and retain the customer based exclusively on the characteristics of my intrinsic characteristics of the product. And that's it. Therefore, it's a very inward-oriented saying, right? It's my value chain. It's my cost infrastructure. It's my ability, Yeah, I'm working with a sales force that goes to a purchasing guy, and establishes a transaction through a standardized product. What is a transaction? Transaction is an activity where I give you a product and you give me money and thank you very much. The degree of bonding that exists at this level is minimum, almost non-existing. Why? Because it's just based upon the product. There is no other involvement. And if somebody comes with a better product, the customer will and should leave you. What are the different ways of obtaining that? You see, and then it comes my dear friend Michael Porter. Michael is perhaps the most influential academic in my generation in management. He's an outstanding contributor, right? And we could talk a lot about that. But Michael said something which I was very surprised, without having any proof about that. He said, it is self-evident. And by being self-evident, that's it, right? Let's not discuss it. That there are only two ways to compete, and those are low cost or differentiation. I am not saying for a second that having an extraordinarily effective cost infrastructure is not necessary. I am not saying for a second that having a stream of creative products of high quality is not necessary. Absolutely. These are foundations, but don't stop there. Because if you stop here, you are going to negate yourself of really becoming an extraordinary company. There are very few great companies in that corner. Very few admired companies in that corner. Because there isn't much. They are in the process of standardization. There is these things that we call a transaction. What can you do different? Well, you can go, you see, and now, da-da-da-da, you move to the left. That is not a political statement. The transformation that goes from best product to total customer solution, I think, is a very positive thing. Now you begin to understand deeply your customer. Now there are no standardized things. Through common learning, you can put together something that is absolutely unique and differentiated. You no longer are providing, standardized products. You are providing a harmonized portfolio of products and services that allows to resolve fundamental solutions to your customers. Right? Instead of a transaction, you have a relationship, an enduring, long-lasting relationship that could culminate with a very strong bonding on the part of both players, both the customers and the companies that we are exercising. What are the ways of doing this? You see, you have to do three things simultaneously. You have to rethink how you engage the customer. Another of these slogans, some stupid slogans that I begin to coin is, sales are too important to be left to the salesman. And that is true, A very good salesperson will understand that sometimes you don't sell just going with a standardized product. I mean, to visit to your purchaser in your briefcase. You got to have a team approach. In order to understand, what are the needs of the customer, you have to have a multifunctional team, R&D, finance, marketing, the top executives, in conversation with one another to seal off, the kind of work that needs to be developed in order to provide this total customer solution. So you redefine the customer engagement process, understand the customer effectively, segment the customer. Don't ever treat every customer the same. Prioritize the customers. I'll show you how to do it later on. And provide value proposition, unique, differentiated, extremely exciting value proposition to each of those players. Then you move, I said, this thing of customer integration. What does it mean? I am not an engine that develops and makes products. I'm an engine of knowledge, of understanding. I possess capacities and capabilities that my customers don't have. And the possibility for me to carry on and pass on those things to the customer is what makes my contribution unique. It's not just a standardized product. And then finally, you see, is the horizontal breadth. How much it is that I can provide to you. Can I satisfy every conceivable need that the customer has in the sector in which we are? You see, and now I can begin to ask you questions. Suppose that I ask you, how good are you at managing your department? How good are you at creating a very effective cost infrastructure? Then it comes the top, the dominant exchange, the system locking. Those are the dominant companies, the companies that have 70% above market share. How could you get, you see, in here, in best product, you have zero bound. You move to that customer solution, and if you do things well, you get a customer looking. What are ways of achieving them? You see, let's start with the simplest one, which is the hardest one, to obtain, which is defining the standard of the industry and appropriate them. A super example of that, Microsoft and Intel. Dominant exchange. What is dominant exchange about? Establish a system that you own, and it's fundamental for your customers to relate to the environment. You know who did it in your discipline? American Hospital Supply. It almost broke J&J. J&J is the most decentralized company on the planet. They are a family of 250 companies or so. Each one of them fiercely independent and autonomous. Focus entirely, most of the time, in one single product, in one market, globally. So they have about 11 companies that will go to an hospital. American Hospital Supply was a generic drug distributor. Can you imagine? How much lower than that would you be in life? You know what they did? They went to an hospital and said, look, we will develop, install, and operate an order entry system for you. That will mean, that we are going to process your orders, we are going to manage your inventories, we're going to tell you how to replenish them, how to take care of promotions and so forth. Now, how could you resist such a fantastic gift? But once you have that system, you own the customer. That's what Cisnet will do with an inventory system that they have, in every hospital, where they know exactly what was the state of the inventory of the instruments and implants. Right? So, and there is, you see, the greatest glory of our times. What is Google? What is Apple? What is Facebook? You know, what are these enormously? What is Amazon? They are just fantastic, dominant exchanges. A value proposition has 4 attributes. It has to be unique. This uniqueness has to be durable, sustainable in time. It has to add value, and it has to generate bonding.